What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Pod Scum. I am your host, your bastard of ceremonies, Reckless Rexx Ruger. That, if you couldn't tell by those enormous teeth right there, is, of course, my sidekick. Watching my back, the Freddie Mercury puppet. We're back with another kick-ass episode. My guest is already here, so we are diving in and chopping it up ASAP. Let's get down to it. This one's going to be heavy. Eric.
Hey.
Good to have you on here, man. Hey, thanks for doing this, man, on such short notice, too, man. I know we've been, we've been fucking around trying to get this, to happen or whatever, but I'm glad we finally got a chance to do it, man. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem, dude.
Yeah. Finally, a guy who comes on here that doesn't skip arm day at the gym. I'm often slacking, man, but I see you getting the swell on all the time, man, and it's nice to see, man.
Thank you. It's hard to do on tour. I mean, it's a little easier when we're in North America with the Planet and the Black Card. You can kind of just go from gym to gym, but in Europe, it gets a little fun.
I imagine though, man, that it must be very advantageous, man, to be in fucking great shape, man, because I doing this show and talking to a lot of drummers, and I don't know if you've experienced this yet because you are still on the younger side and in great shape, man, but the physicality of especially playing extreme metal, have you had to make any tweaks or had any injuries? Like, I know I've had drummers on here that talk about having to, change the height of the stool or the arrangement or the layout of the drums. Have you experienced any of that?
I mean, when I first started playing drums and getting into really fast death metal stuff, I was a skinny little skater kid, I was 145, 150 pounds. So I could fly, sit down, not warm up, and just go. My heart rate would always just balance out to what I'm playing, and I could just go, The older I got, the less stamina for the really fast stuff, came less easy.
Yeah.
I did notice I am working out my shoulders more. It was a little bit harder with my cymbals being higher and my china being farther with the going up and reaching.
Right.
So I kind of lowered my cymbals a little bit and put my china a little bit closer towards the ride. But other than that, it's, with the techniques down, it's not too much body movement. But I definitely noticed my cardio. Maybe that's just me getting older.
Yeah.
Putting more weight on, but I'm just not young, I think, anymore. So.
And do you notice, man, that because you are a bigger guy in shape, man, or do people tell you or give you feedback ever, man, that you hit the drums harder than other people? Or do you feel like you hit the drums harder than other people? Or when you watch other drummers, do you feel like, damn, I really fucking bang those fucking things because of my size?
Well, you should ask my sound man. But no, I noticed, there's a lot of different drummers out there that play a lot of different velocities depending on the style they're playing and whatnot, but I've been told I hit pretty hard, especially when you get the adrenaline going playing those big festivals. I don't know, I want to stay kind of humble on that one. I will say one thing. I remember a festival we were playing, and we played right after Misery Index, and me and Adam Jarvis are really good friends.
Yeah.
I broke the snare drum at the festival, and one of the floor tom legs just loosened from hitting it in the floor tom. It just looked funny, like the kit was falling apart. And at the end of the show, Jarvis comes up, he's like, "Oh, Morotti, I hit fucking hard, but you hit like an asshole."
Hulk smash.
I just remember laughing. I was like, "Oh no, I hope it doesn't look silly."
And so what got you into doing the weightlifting? Like you said, you were a skinny little skater kid, man. Was it just was it just a personal preference, man? Was it the result of maybe picked on, bullied, man? Because you said you were a skinny skater kid, man. What got you into because you got a pretty impressive physique, I must say, man.
You're gassing me up too much here.
Huh?
You're gassing me up too much here, man.
Hey, I'll tell you, man, this is my secret for getting guys to come back on the show.
Yeah. But as far as that, I always played hockey my whole life too, right up until junior B and then almost OHL.
Yeah.
I was always a smaller dude. I remember when I was playing in the junior levels, I was 16 and I was playing up against some 22, 23-year-olds that were my size now, and I was just getting leveled and thrown around. And I remember when I hit that age of hockey and, being a semi-athlete trying to be,
right,
I'm taller than all my teammates and stuff. So at that age too, it becomes a little bit more popular to mature, I guess. And everyone's like, we got to start hitting the gym. And it was kind of like a thing. And then we just always would play hockey and skateboard and do music and go to the gym. And it was just another aspect of our daily routine. And then, of course, once you get into it, it's so infectious that you become like obsessed with it, because your first month or so of working out properly, eating properly, really trying it, not just goofing around, you notice you get a little bit more size. And then you're like really excited because you see the difference. People start telling you that. And then you're like, boy, this is exciting. And then you keep going and keep going. And, you know, it wasn't really anything crazy other than just natural occurrences growing up.
And now, for people that might not know your history, man, like, you know, was there a specific album or an artist or a song that really got its hooks in you and made you want to do music, man? Like, do you remember what the earliest stuff was that really got you charged up?
Obviously the older, like Iron Maiden, Sabbath, Judas Priest. My dad's a musician, and he would always jam with his friends and have a band, and they would play that stuff all the time.
Yeah.
So started with that. I remember around 11, 12, 13, a lot of the Lamb of Gods, like really into Slipknot always, because the drumming was so intense for me.
Oh yeah.
But if one answer to that, it would definitely be the pinnacle of that is Slipknot for sure.
Yeah. 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 And obviously Suffocation is is one of the rare bands, you know, that is a legendary death metal band that hasn't come out of someplace hot weather like Florida or whatever. You know what I mean? Like I'm an upstate New Yorker, man. We get to claim Suffocation as ours. You know what I mean? Like, are you a New York guy?
Well, I'm originally from Canada. I'm Canadian, from Ottawa.
Okay.
And I live in New York now on visas, like long-term visas with the band, like as far as touring and whatnot. So I'm here, and then when my visas end, I go back to Canada. You know, I have a place over there in a cottage, and then I'll just come right back. But for the most part, I've been staying here for about 80% of the year for definitely 3 years, maybe 75, 50% for like 5, 6 years, especially when COVID happened. Because I remember when COVID happened, we had to fly home from tour. We were in the middle of a European tour. We're in Switzerland, I think, and everyone had to fly home. So I had to go to Canada. Yeah. And it was awful when I got there. It was just total panic. Everyone's locked down. Don't leave your house. And so after staying there for like 2-3 months, me and Hobbs were talking, and we're like, we have to write an album, and this really puts a wrench in it. So I'm like, I'm going to figure this out and come over there somehow. And I ended up, they allowed travel from Canada. So I flew over there and stayed for all the end of 2020, almost, and all of 2021 writing the album. And that's kind of when it started me changing over full time to more so being in Long Island. Yeah. You know, because it just like, I can't operate in Canada, right? I can't do anything. You know, I couldn't leave my house. And if I had people, if my dad brought over some old drum equipment because I didn't have any, and someone driving down my street stopped and jumped out of their car, it was like, it said in French, you want me to call the police? Yeah. The guys in my driveway. So it was like,
what are you doing out of your house?
Yeah, I'm like, why are you driving? Where are you going?
and so I'm glad you brought that up, man, about writing a new album, because I think, you know, obviously people that know Suffocation, obviously, you know, certainly Terrence has been there, you know, damn near since the beginning. You know, I think people certainly identify, you know, Frank Mullen is being there at the very beginning or whatever, and I think you know, people associate those guys with the band and maybe, you know, them taking the reins with the creative process. But obviously that door is open for all of you guys. Like, what is the creative process like when Suffocation is going to make an album? Because obviously you're alluding to being in on the writing process.
Well, I mean, I almost don't call drum sequencing and parts writing.
Yeah, I guess.
I think changing little fills here and there because it still matches the song that's already written. Like, I wouldn't just go and do a bunch of drums and then be like, play guitar over it.
Yeah, you know? Right.
I do like sequencing over their parts, but it's been great because Hobbs has a whole, you know, bank full of riffs.
Yeah.
And full songs too. Derek also has full songs written, and Charlie had a whole mess full of songs written. And we had a great opportunity to listen over them all, pick the ones we like, play them, see what feels human. Because some of them, you know, drummers can't play all these guitar players on drums.
Yeah.
Especially Charlie sometimes, but
it's a lot. It's a lot of pressure on you, right?
Yeah, I'm like, play this.
7,000 beats a minute.
yeah. 1, 2, 3, go. So we got to choose the best parts from everyone and jam them together and write some of the songs like Seraphim Enslavement, we actually did all of us together. Starts with a Hobbs riff, goes into a Charlie riff, goes into a Derek riff in there somewhere too. I think it might be this around the chunky triplet part. And then it ends with a combination of everyone. It was a perfect riff, like with Charlie putting the lead over it and Hobbs had the speed picking part.
Yeah.
So everyone, that song is pretty much everyone writing.
And I imagine with Suffocation being an old school band, man, like they probably wouldn't think of doing it a different way. But because listening trends seem to have changed so much, especially post-COVID, you know, you brought up COVID or whatever, does an LP still make sense for Suffocation? Because we are seeing a lot of singles, which doesn't really make a lot of sense in the extreme metal world, but a lot of EPs, shorter bodies of work. Obviously, attention spans seem to have dwindled some in today's day. I mean, like, but is that always going to be the model for Suffocation, full-length albums?
Not necessarily. I mean, we've definitely poked fun at that idea of putting out a single with a music video, because the combo keeps the band. It's almost the same effect on the public as doing a full album, because it just shows them something new. It shows the band active, and they're like, "Oh, this is new."
Right.
You know what I mean? Because most people don't even really, when a new album comes out, they're like, yeah, I'm gonna check it out. They check out like one song one night and another one. The diehards, of course, go right through it. But
right.
I think the ADD world of social media nowadays really gets their attention for a second, and then they'll be like, "Did you see that? I saw that." Like, you know what I mean? And especially
on to the next, yeah,
exactly, right.
Yeah. On to the next thing, yeah.
Make it through the whole video, even.
Yeah, a whole 4-minute video.
No, yeah, they watch 10 seconds and then start reading the comments and be like, what do I think about this?
and you know, obviously now with the physical product not being as prevalent, with everybody streaming and everything, I obviously, and I know this from talking to musicians on here a lot, obviously touring and merchandise is a big part of what you guys do. But touring is probably one of those things, I imagine, that it is tough. You know, that type of travel probably isn't for everybody. Obviously, you know, you signed up for this or whatever, but do you enjoy that part of it? Because you do kind of live like a nomad. You know, you're sleeping in vans or buses, and you know, you're away from the things that are comfortable to you. Do you like that part of it?
Listen to what you just said. Does any of that sound appealing?
No.
Of course, I love my job and my life. It's amazing. It's a dream come true. But with every, you know, everything, there's pluses and minuses. The travel part is not so bad in America, and when we're in Europe, we got our buses, we got our things, figure it out. Same thing every day, like Groundhog Day. When we go to Australia and Asia and South America, things get a little hairy because we got to fly in and out every day, and there's like these really tight schedules that are pretty stressful, and the lack of sleep and all the traveling it gets a little strenuous. You know, we all get a little cranky and tired, and then you perform, go. And that gets a little strenuous, you know, for sure. But as far as overall, it's amazing. It's great. You get to travel the world, see all these cool places. And, you know, what more can you ask for? There's definitely the hard times, though.
And now the last Suffocation album came out in 2023, but for you, now that 2024 is kind of, you know, it's obviously in the rear view here now. As a fan, man, what albums stood out for you in 2024?
Oh boy, what came out? What came out this year?
A lot of people made a lot of buzz about the new Blood Incantation.
What else came out this year?
No comment.
I haven't heard it.
Okay. Jesus Christ, what the hell else did come out this year? I don't know. I thought you would fill me in.
No, I'm really out of the loop with everything.
Shit, I have a podcast, and you kind of fucking caught me off guard too. I should fucking know. I don't know. I mean, you know, of course, when you pose that question, it is easy to draw a blank. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure I didn't know if there was anything particularly that struck you. You know what I mean? Like last year where you were like, oh yeah, I fucked with that a lot.
Okay, right. I mean, I always go back to my old school meat and potatoes. Like, you
me
know.
too. And I've tried to be better about it, man. I was going to ask you, that was going to be one of my other questions too. Like, what's your own listening trends are like? Like when you get a chance to just, you know, you're puttering around the crib or whatever, man, or you got some time to put on music and listen as a fan, man. Do you kind of go back to your old standards, man, and find it hard to go out and discover new shit?
Well, I mean, like I listen to a lot of dubstep and stuff like that nowadays, to be honest. And
yeah.
bigger DJs and whatnot, and love the heavy aspect to it. So for the most part, if I'm doing something like I'm cooking, I'll throw on like like new Sudden Death or Murata and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But when it comes to metal, Deeds of Flesh is always a good one to throw on. The Rise of the Verbum Juggernaut song makes me want to light my house on fire. It's every time I hear that part where they do the quote from the movie The Thing, I'm like, stop what I'm doing and just
you're ready to stop and you're ready to stop and commit a violent crime.
So, you know, even like old despised icon, because I'm Canadian and I've grown up around it so much. Certain songs, just like, oh my god, this is insane. Shit doesn't really like this anymore. You know?
Yeah. So it's hard for you to go out and find like new stuff, man, that like like excites you, man. Like, do you go out and like obviously you must see a lot of bands when you're out on tour or out doing these festivals or whatever, but is there anything in like the metal world, because usually this is a rock and metal podcast, did you find anything kind of new that has excited you in recent times?
Actually, yeah, this last tour we just did with High and Morbid, the opening band, they're called Knoll.
Yeah.
Yeah, Knoll. Just these young kids that are just kind of avant-garde, you know, but it's just so grindcore, Portal, Dillinger mixed with animosity. And like they have this cool show where like it's all dark when they play, and they have these little like lamps on stage that kind of glow up. Have you ever heard of them? Knoll?
I'm gonna write that down. I do it. I always keep scrap paper in front of me, like with my bullet points of stuff I want to talk to you about, but I keep the pen handy in case I get a good reference. Yeah, I will check them out. That sounds cool.
Yeah, they're great. They're an upcoming band, and they're really just like, I haven't heard anything as crazy in so long. Something so different and like really makes you feel like a crazy person, you know?
Yeah. And so with that being said, obviously you just alluded to seeing them in concert, man. But if I could ask you a couple subjective questions, man, and from a fan standpoint, man, and I'm sure you've been to lots of shows, when you've been out in an audience, man, watching, are there any shows, maybe a show or two that you could speak about, man, that have really, somebody that you've seen in concert that's blown you away?
Every time I go and see my really good friend Naveen play, you know, Naveen, he plays drums. He was in Animals. Every time I see him play, and I just saw him maybe about 2 years ago or a year and a half, about a year and a half ago in Brooklyn with Entheos. And it was my first time seeing him. And I'm pretty sure at the end of the night, we were like almost in tears, just hugging each other. And then he came to our show, our next tour with, I think it was Incantation, and I seen him in the pit when we were playing Funeral Reception. He lost his credit card. He got a bloody nose. Every time I watch Naveen play, it's one of those really close friend bonds of like, you're killing it. Oh my God, we're doing this crazy shit.
Yeah.
You know, I like he's a dude that always, last show that really I was watching and paying attention was them opening for Archfire in Brooklyn.
And obviously, because you are an extreme metal drummer, who are some of the guys, in your particular scene, who sit on that drum stool, man, that you admire as players?
Oh boy, every single one of them. Like everyone in the scene right now is amazing. One of my really good friends, Grayson. You know, Grayson, he's playing with Sepultura right now.
Yes. Yeah.
Actually, jam here. We go to the gym together. We do a lot together. He's just a young, up-and-coming, absolutely amazing drummer. I've been showing him double strokes. We sat here and learned within one night.
But I gotta ask though. I gotta interrupt for a second, man. What does that mean, playing for Sepultura? Because weren't they just on a farewell tour?
You'd have to ask him. I don't know.
Yeah, I was pretty sure. I was pretty sure that Sepultura, man, had just announced that they were on there. I mean, obviously, a fucking amazing drummer is going to land fucking somewhere, but it's just a little confusing because I thought that, of course, that doesn't mean anything because fucking Kiss has been on their farewell tour for 7 years.
Same as Slayer, Pantera, and everyone.
Yeah, everyone has a farewell tour nowadays.
They're about to do the cruise.
So I also want to ask too, man, have there been any times in your travels, and you talked about doing the festivals and everything, where you've ever really been blown away by somebody you got a chance to meet? I hate to use the word starstruck because we're fucking grown men, you know what I mean? But somebody that just where you were really like, whoa, that was heavy, getting to meet that person.
Of course. Every time we play like the Hellfests and stuff like that, where, I'm one day I was on stage talking with the new drummer for Avenged Sevenfold and his drum tech and my good buddy Willie G, and then boom, walks by Fred Durst, little Fred Durst.
Yeah.
Raincoat thing. I'm like that. Like moments like that happen a lot. I don't necessarily engage too much with them, but like every time you see it, it puts you in check with your environment and where you are and what you did.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I would imagine it would. Yeah, like wow, Fred Durst walked by.
Yeah, just casually walking by, chilling, or seeing like Corey Taylor, walking backstage, and he was dragging his suitcase with his wife, and he saw us walking. He looked right at Derek. He's like, "Suffocation."
That's kind of. Yeah, that's kind of cool when you get the recognition. Although it was a little bit confusing to see Limp Bizkit out with Corey Feldman opening for him.
That's just don't see it for what it is. It's so funny. Fred Durst,
is it funny?
A troll. He everything is like this funny little comic skit, and just doing that is so funny. Bringing out the absolute worst opener that is like Kill Tony style comedy. That is.
And now, do you feel like that Corey Feldman is really considers himself a musician, or do you feel like he's fucking with us?
No. That's why it's funny is that he's not in on it. It's like he thinks he's good and something, and we get to low key kind of not bully him, but be like rooting him on from a weird standpoint. Where it's like I love watching this fail so much. I have to see more.
I know it is. It's like rubbernecking when you're going by like a bad car wreck. You almost.
Of course, people love great news, but they love bad news. So
yeah. and so obviously I mentioned that Suffocation put out their last album in 2023. So what do you guys have cooking, man? When do you foresee that we'll have new Suffocation music? Do you feel like we'll see something in 2025?
We're still talking about that. We've been talking a lot about doing a single and releasing it, but we still don't know exactly what the plan is for that.
Yeah.
We have some ideas about maybe just doing another album. I don't know. I know that we're writing right now. Hobbs has a couple new riffs, and we're trying to put together some pieces for writing. And I mean, we're literally right now just kind of rebuilding our studio. We took a wall down the other day and up the whole environment, and are resetting up Hobbs's whole studio. He had to, run all the cables and stuff and relocate it. So right now we're kind of just getting our spot freshened up so we can rehearse.
Yeah,
with a little bit of time off. We never have a lot of time off. So sorry, my battery. 20%.
Yeah, and so. Is Suffocation the main focus for you? Because I get guys on here all the time, and it never ceases to amaze me. You'll get these guys that are in 3, 4, 5 different fucking bands. I don't know where the hell they find the time, man. You know what I mean? Like, are you one of those guys with a singular focus? I'm in this band and in this band alone, or do you have other endeavors going on?
Well, Suffocation's my bread maker, my main gig, my career, profession right now, full timer, if you would. But I have a side project. Me and Rich Nagasawa from Dehumanized, and Devin Swank from Sanguisugabog, and Derek from Suffo. We have a band called Upbringing. It's not like we're going to be touring and might play a couple shows here and there. It's just Rich. I don't know if you know Rich very well from Dehumanized. He's got a family. He's got a newborn, and we're really good friends, and we've been messing around with riffs for like 3 years now. And I was like, why don't we just record this here with Joe Sincata? I'm at the studio right now, and just put this out there. And Devin had interest, and Derek was like, fuck yeah. So we're releasing that. I'm recording it actually in like 2 weeks. Okay.
And talk a little bit about, because I believe Hymns was the first album where we saw the vocals of Ricky, right?
Yeah.
And so talk to me a little bit about the change, because you played behind, both Frank and now Ricky, right? I mean, what has he brought to the band, and what's the dynamic like with him in there? I listened to the new album, man. It's fucking great, and that's not to impugn, obviously, Frank Mullen's thumbprint, because, I mean, he's a fucking goddamn legend, but.
No, for sure. I mean, so the last bunch of tours where Frank came out, and, he had his farewell tour, he was getting these really bad headaches when he would scream. Like really bad. So it wasn't necessarily like that he didn't really want to do it. It's that he couldn't. And he even picked out Ricky and all that. But Ricky brought like a really overall strong, full sound to the vocals. Like I've noticed it's been a lot like fuller sounding. And even from when he first started to where he is now, he's been practicing, buying his own like in-ears and really practicing at home his art. And you can night and day see the the improvement, and almost now it's like it doesn't even need to improve. He's found his sound and his tone and ability to do it. Like, you know, I don't really know vocals so well, but like the ability to do it without straining yourself and hurting yourself for a long time, and which is like, I never really thought about that, the technique behind vocals, but he's really got it down where he can do it and not fuck himself up.
Right.
And it's amazing, which is comforting to know that our unit is solid, you know?
Yeah. Now, thrash metal has, you know, obviously has the big four that we know of, you know, Metallica, Megadeth, Anthrax, Slayer, or whatever. Of course, obviously this is subjective or whatever, but in your mind, who would be the death metal big four?
Morbid Angel, Cannibal Corpse, Deicide, Suffocation.
No, that's okay to put your own band there. I would put Suffocation in there too.
I think that would be it, from what people tell me, or I don't really know though, because
yeah, you answered that pretty assuredly though.
That's what I've heard. Because I never really talked too much about this, but when Derek called me to join stuff, I was like, "Who's Suffocation?"
Yeah.
Like I'd seen the logo before, but I couldn't recall one piece of music. So I'm getting the lore behind death metal more and more, and Suffocation more and more as I've been in the band now. It's been 9 years, almost a decade.
Yeah, well, they're often cited, and I've seen this on numerous places on the internet with Suffocation, you know, being the innovators of brutal death metal. But then I don't really know, like, you know, it's kind of the age old, what came first, the chicken or the egg? You know, you get a lot of people that say that it was invented by Possessed, but then you got your camp, you know, but then you've got your camp that believes it was Chuck Schuldiner and Death. You know what I mean? So
that too, or Obituary too, somewhere.
Obituary, yeah. I mean,
Carcass.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So there's a lot of bands that were kind of there, like, you know, like at the beginning. Is there anybody, like, if you could put yourself onto like a dream bill, man, like, you know, is there anybody that Suffocation hasn't gotten a chance to play with, or you specifically would just love to share a bill with?
Yeah, Metallica or Pantera or Slipknot.
Yeah, that would be great, right? I know.
Whole lineup there.
Huh?
That whole lineup right there. Great tour.
Yeah. Or maybe sit in for Lars.
Yeah, sure.
Now,
one song.
Now, you being a drummer, man, you know, I'm glad his name came up, man, because he's a guy, man, that, you know, obviously the other guys in the band have said lots of times he might not technically be the best drummer, but he's the best drummer for Metallica. But he takes a real fucking shellacking fucking online, man, for his drumming, man. I mean, he gets highly criticized, man, and I don't think he's on record anywhere saying he's the greatest technical drummer by any means or whatever. But why do people give him so much fucking shit, man? Like, what would you assess his fucking drumming ability as a drummer yourself?
I don't know. I know there's a lot of hate for Lars, and like, you know, but I don't know. I thought that was just because of the CD burning stuff, and people who don't really know drumming just kind of jump on the bandwagon of memes they see and stuff. As far as Lars drumming, he's probably not going to go write books and be on Drumeo doing like a 15th left hand, or
right.
Sounds like 4 bowling balls going down the stairs, but for what he's doing a great job. He's made a great career. He's
done okay. Yeah.
Doing whatever he wants. People, you know, probably make fun of him because his paradiddle isn't, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, it just seems like, you know, and again, yeah, you made a good point, man. You know, the guy's parlayed it into becoming, you know, a multi-millionaire, you know, several times over. You know what I mean? So he's obviously done something right, man. But I don't know. People just seem to love to get on YouTube and like beat the shit out of Lars.
Right. He's like the, so Lars to the drumming world is like the pineapple on pizza to the pizza world.
Yeah.
It's like, well, people just like, even if they like it, they don't care because they probably won't try it because they have their own piece that they like and they don't want to change it. And they know the people around them are like, oh, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good analogy. That's a good analogy. Yeah.
It just shows you the quality of person if they discuss things like that.
Yeah. Now, you know, for somebody like you, man, that plays you know, extreme metal drumming, man, and again, I mentioned at the top of the interview that it is such a physical thing, man. How often or how many hours of a day, man, do you have to play your drums to be able to do what you do?
Not too much anymore. When I was younger, I did take a long time developing skills and learning and practicing and doing that when I was at the age that didn't have a schedule that was busy, you know, so I took advantage of that without even knowing it really. But now it's more like just conditioning, you know, trying to keep my body in check. after a long tour, I normally don't play drums for like at least 2 weeks, maybe.
Yeah. You
And
gotta
then,
kind of let the body recharge.
yeah, you got to let it be fun again.
Yeah. Is it hard for you to go to the gym, like let's say it's arm, shoulder, or anything in the upper torso day, and play drums in the same day? Is that absolutely out of the question?
No, none of that really matters, to be honest. It's the only thing that ever affects anything is legs. Like the day after leg day or the day after, everything just sucks. Standing up, walking, doing anything. So it's annoying to play drums, obviously, but like arm and stuff like that, there's really not a lot of movements that are similar to any like workout that you would do. So as far as it's just wrist movement and bouncing, and so it doesn't really affect anything. I mean, you know.
And now you see a lot of these guys, man, like the, I'm sure in the drumming world, there's a certain bravado as to who can play, faster or whatever. Is that something that, as a drummer in the extreme metal world, that you think about? Like, I know you hear like BPMs, you know what I mean? Like you hear that phrase, thrown around a lot, man. You know, have you ever tested your own self to see what your proficiency and speed is? Or is that just something that you don't even give a shit about?
No, I don't really care anymore, to be honest. It's fun to play fast, and it's, everyone has their moments where they want to show off, maybe, I guess, or whatever. But when I was younger, I was doing a BPM chase with my band called Kill It or Us.
Yeah.
And Aaron, the guitar player, he's an annihilator. We were really all about just being idiots. Getting us stoned or whatever, drinking as much as you can, and playing as fast as you can, but while looking in people's eyes and laughing, being like, look, this is easy.
Yeah.
And I quickly dropped that mentality when I stopped playing, and basically, but I look at music a lot different now. But I used to push the BPMs on the old click track I had in my module and see how fast I could go.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned that your father was a musician, man. So you grew up with a lot of music in your house. Then I take it, right? Was music very prevalent and on in your home a lot?
Yeah, my brother as well. He played drums in a band called Obey the Brave. And my dad always had music on, bands, buddies that played. So it was always.
Did your dad play at a professional level or just messing around with friends?
So I would say in between.
In between, yeah. But what was he playing? What genre? Hard rock and metal?
Yeah, he's always the front man, lead guitar, vocals of any cover bands, from like Deep Purple cover bands to bands that play the rock classics, or he'd even play, Iron Maiden and stuff like that. Me and him played Sabbath when I was like 8 or 9. I'd have my friends over and be like, watch this, we're gonna play Black Sabbath.
And so your parents, because I know like sometimes like a career in the arts sometimes could be frowned upon by parents, man. Did your parents? So your parents sound like they were extremely supportive.
Oh yeah, they totally let everything go. I even had to drop it out of my last year of high school and do online courses to finish it. But they were the ones that left it up to me for the most part. And they knew the band, Blind Witness. We had seen them and they were busy and doing pretty well. And they knew like, well, he's been practicing all life for this. And this is kind of like, it may not be the Slipknot or the biggest band that we would like him to join, but it's a stepping stone.
And so how do you make the correlation, or like how do you get recognized by Suffocation, man? Like take me back to 2016, man, when you got in the band, man. Like were you on their radar? Did they hold tryouts? What was your entry into the band?
Derek was looking for a drummer, and he called Alex Arian, the singer of Despise Icon, and he was trying to see if he could get Alex, their drummer's number, if he could borrow them for a tour while they look and hold auditions. And then Alex from Despise was, oh, you need a drummer? Oh, I know a drummer. His name's ERIC MOROTTI. Here, he'll be your drummer. You don't even need to hold auditions. And he gassed me up so hard. Derek called me and he's like, do you want to come drum for us? And then I went there and jammed. And then within like 5 days of jamming, or not even, I had the management emailing me for my passport scans and everything for Summer Slaughter 2016.
Fuck, it should be that easy for everybody, right?
I know. I showed up here wearing a neon green Avicii tank top with a big man bun with blonde highlights in it. And I'm like, hi. Hello. Derek's like, what up, dude? Sick. You look cool. It's badass.
And I usually save this one for towards the end of the interview, man. But if I were to drop you, Eric, onto a desert island and you can only take one album, what's the desert island album?
I don't know. I don't have one. It's impossible. It would have to be the one album would actually just be like a playlist.
Oh, so you'd have to okay. So you'd have to make like a mixtape before you got on the island.
Yeah, and it would be very confusing.
So you would die on this island with a very confusing set list.
Depends on what song's playing when I'm getting there. One way or the other.
And so what's 2025 look like for Suffocation, man? Are you guys going to be on the road?
Oh, yeah. We got a bunch lined up. We have a show at AMH coming up. That's Amityville Music Hall, Long Island. It's coming up on the 22nd of Feb. And then we leave for the European run with Angel Maker, which is February 27th or 8th until March 6th, I think. And then I don't even know if we announced the other tours, so I shouldn't list them off, but I think there's a bunch more coming up after that.
They are coming. Yeah, they are coming.
I think maybe South America or some other places, maybe those two, maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah. And so for people that want to get tapped in, man, where's the best place? Like Suffocation has their own website, I would assume, correct?
I think so. I mean,
you have to, right?
Instagram, Spotify, all that.
I think nowadays in the social media era, man, you fucking have to, right? You guys have to be on Instagram and TikTok and Facebook.
I don't think we have a TikTok. I can't see that. I don't know.
That's not very metal. Yeah, that's not very metal. Yeah. I couldn't see Suffocation clips on TikTok, man. I don't know.
Right? We got Hobbs and Derek doing little dances.
No, please. Don't allow them to do that, please. It'll just ruin everything, please. Take away my whole childhood. But listen, man, I appreciate it, man. I'm glad I finally got a chance to run you down. I know me and you have been talking, man, offline, man, for the longest time, man. But it was a lot of fun chatting with you, man. And for sure, keep in touch, man. We'll do this again, definitely.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it, brother. Thank you so much, man. Good talking to you, Eric. Thanks.
All right.
All right, later, brother. There he goes, folks. ERIC MOROTTI, the man behind the drum kit for the legendary New York. I'm going to say New York, man, because we don't get a chance to claim a lot of legendary death metal bands. And me being a New Yorker, I'm going to take this opportunity to say Suffocation is ours. The legendary Suffocation, man, who have given us amazing death metal for goddamn nearly 40 years, man. They were at the forefront of brutal death metal and still fucking kicking ass. And Eric's been behind the drum kit, man, since 2016 and doing a fucking amazing job. Of course, the legendary vocalist Frank Mullen has stepped down and Ricky is in there doing his thing now, man. And their last album was 2023, Hymns from the Apocrypha. I might have said that wrong, man. But just go to your fucking streaming platform and look it up, man. They put out an album in 2023, and it's an LP, just the way I like my death metal. Long play. Give me a fucking lot of it, man. So, again, I've been talking with Eric offline for the longest, man. Schedules, conflicting stuff, man. But I knew we were eventually going to make it work, and today was the day, man. We finally made it work, man. And I knew it would be a fun interview with him, man. And it fucking certainly was. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I didn't even get a chance to stop and admire the view, but I'm going to do that now. Still fucking looking good. And of course, when I need a little help with that, and it isn't often because, again, you are looking at Diamond David Lee Roth Jr., so I've got Rockstar Genetics on my side. But when I do need help, this is my go-to right here, folks. And again, let me add, and this is important, so perk up your ears and listen. You know, despite how much of this stuff you use, you will not achieve this. This is unattainable right here because, again, see Rockstar Genetics. But you can step up your game levels, not to the point of looking like an amazing frontman like myself, but you can step your game up, and it's all about levels in life. With that being said, man, let me get into my shameless, obligatory promotional mode and tell you guys to make sure to like and follow Pod Scum on Facebook to stay tapped in with updates on new episodes and who will be on those episodes other than yours truly, even though I should be all the entertainment that you need. Me and, of course, my silent partner back there, the Freddie Mercury puppet. What more do you need? I do the talking and the heavy lifting. He shuts up and watches my back. It's a flawless system. Also, make sure to like, subscribe, and smash that notification bell to stay tapped in, man. This is where the best conversations happen, right here with your boy, Reckless Rexx, giving you the goods every single time, man. And before I get out of here, again, let me extend my thanks to ERIC MOROTTI, the drummer for legendary brutal death metal band Suffocation out of good old New York State, man. Much like myself, man. Everything legendary comes from New York, man. I'm convinced of that, man. And you should be too. With that being said, I will also end this episode. It might be a brand new year, man, but your boy Rexx here, man, has not changed the slogan one tiny bit. And that is, remember to take it easy and keep it sleazy.